Everyone. This is Robert G. Green, CEO of Pre-Post Game. Today, what is today? Today is Monday, September 24th, approximately 1:30 p.m. I'm doing this quick live. I'm trying to see if I can get any volunteers. I'm going to see who's online. Anybody who wants to come on and dispute some facts versus some myths. And again, let's talk about sports is not a game, sports is all business. And today, I'm going to be discussing the facts that a QB-driven league is an actual myth. The fact of the matter is, say, if you plan on winning a game, you have to pack your defense and pack your running game, and that's the fact of the matter. So the NFL and any other organization that are looking to get better, they need to pay these athletes and such. Athletes such as Le'Veon Bell, athletes such as Earl Thomas, athletes such as Aaron Donald, obviously, and athletes such as Khalil Mack, etc. So again, I don't want to do this by myself. Who want to get someone online? It's basically who believes quarterbacks are the reason why your team is winning. I probably won't get a lot of takers in this, and I'm actually going to be doing this video live on the African Athlete radio talk show, also Facebook Live page, to talk about those things. For those who don't know, the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks in the National Football League currently right now as we speak is Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Jimmy Garoppolo, who unfortunately suffered an ACL, MCL tear yesterday. He was out for the season. Guaranteed money, I think approximately $135 million. Also, you have Matt Stafford, and you have one other fellow in particular. Give me 1 second. I'll tell you exactly who that person is. And then their combined records in a QB-driven league. Let's see. Who do we have? Oh, of course, Kirk Cousins, the $90 million man who, for all intents and purposes, at home got beat by what arguably is the worst football team in the National Football League in the Buffalo Bills. So Aaron Rodgers is sitting on more than that now, but Matt Ryan is a $100 million quarterback. Matthew Stafford at $92 million. Andrew Luck, again, the guy that could not throw the ball 55 yards to the end zone yesterday, had to be taken out. And Kirk Cousins. And the fact of the matter is, you know that the great draft class of Andrew Luck with RG3, and as RG3 is the backup for the Baltimore Ravens right now, one can argue, factually speaking, that Robert Griffith's career, or at least that one season, was as great as Andrew Luck's has ever been. And the fact of the matter is, Andrew Luck also was the recipient of a contract of such $87 million where he cannot throw the ball 55 yards to the end zone. Sports is not a game. Sports is all business. Now, again, why is this myth continue to be put out there for people who do not understand why quarterbacks are paid so much money? Once again, if you understand the dynamics of sports, in particular football, and how you want players to basically acquiesce or be subservient to a group of people based off what you believe or not what you actually know. If you look at the last 5 Super Bowls overall, even last year's Super Bowl, which was won by the Philadelphia Eagles, you can say easily that the Philadelphia Eagles had the best defense on the football field. And again, that remains to be true in every type of Super Bowl over the last 10 years, if you will. Just to mention a couple, you had Cam Newton facing off against the Denver Broncos. You had the great Peyton Manning facing off at that time when the Broncos wasn't actually that great on defense against the Seattle Seahawks. You've seen the result in that. And again, the Seattle Seahawks, who actually lost to the New England Patriots because they decided not to run the ball and allow their top-rated defense to end the game, in which why they lost. The 2 Super Bowls that the Giants won had a great defense from there. So it goes on and on and on and on. However, yet the quarterbacks, like I mentioned, Matthew Stafford, his record right now, the Detroit Lions 1-2. Kirk Cousins right now 1-1-1. Who else again did I mention? Aaron Rodgers 1-1-1. Andrew Luck 1-2-0, and Matthew Stafford 1-2-0. So if it's quarterback driven, that's a losing record for the highest paid players guaranteed in the National Football League. To have a losing record completely debunks the argument that without them, those teams wouldn't win. Those guys combined between Kirk Cousins, Andrew Luck, Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers have a grand total of 1 Super Bowl win amongst them. So the reality is, trust the facts, not the process. And this goes way back down to college. So you talk about the 4 college coaches currently in the NCAA Power 5 for those kids that are actually looking to get recruited by these schools and let these people come into your living room and tell you if you come here, you can win a championship. You come here, you can go to the NFL as a high draft pick, and you can win a Super Bowl. The fact of the matter is that only one quarterback has actually won a national championship and the actual Super Bowl ring. And for those people who don't know, as I am the player's rep, I do know that quarterback was Joe Montana. The only other person that came close to doing that was, as current as we know, was Cam Newton winning at Auburn and then playing in a Super Bowl against the Broncos a few years back. But again, so one quarterback. So when you talk about business and sports, in particular football, an entity of, I'm going to a school with my dreams and aspirations based on my socioeconomic standing, where I'm trying to go, that when this coach recruits me, come to my living room and tells me that I'm going to be great, I'm going to be successful, I can come here and win championships, win rings, hats, and T-shirts, and go on to the National Football League and become great and successful. How many times it actually pan out that way? Let's take the facts. Jimbo Fisher, who's a recipient of approximately $85 million guaranteed in Texas A&M right now, has coached quarterbacks such as James Blackman, DeAndre Francois, and the most infamous one, if you will, Mr. Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, who was accused of sexual assault in college and also for actually some other misdemeanors, if you will, or issues with an Uber driver who's currently not playing right now during his contract year. So as Jameis has all these issues between stealing crabs and doing things of that nature, when he went to this school for the character development under this Jimbo Fisher in return has won how many national championships since before Jameis Winston or after? 0. Okay. And he's been rewarded with $85 million. As you know, look at the current state of Florida State and their football program right now, let you know what this is all about. Urban Meyer won a national championship with J.T. Barrett, with Cardell Jones, with Braxton Miller. Anybody see how those guys' careers are going in the pros right now? Well, Cardell's not in the league right now. J.T. Barrett is the practice squad backing up 3 people. He's backing up a guy that's running down on kickoff on their practice squad. He's backing up another guy. And then also Braxton Miller, who played quarterback when he originally got to Ohio State, was changed to wide receiver. And after that experiment, for those people who don't know, in the NFL, if you don't get on the field after 2 to 3 years, regardless of what school you went to, they're going to remove you because some things called pensions, some things called severance packages that literally, if you're not a known name, they're not willing to pay you that. So at the end of the day, you got to invest in yourself, not the industry. So who's the other 2 coaches? Dabo Swinney. Yes, the Dabo Swinney, the guy that won a national championship with Deshaun Watson, put up 1,100 yards and Nick Saban, Alabama twice, 1 championship, 1 not championship. And the fact of the matter is you had a guy named Mitchell Trubisky who was drafted number 2 overall with the Chicago Bears, who didn't even have a full season under his belt as a starter in college, who backed up a quarterback for 3 years prior to being drafted as the number 2 pick overall in the draft. Deshaun Watson currently is playing for the Houston Texans and currently on a 9-game losing streak under Bill O'Brien, who was a former coach at Penn State. So the fact of the matter is, again, trust the facts, not the process. It's not a quarterback-driven league. All of these guys, again, when the $56 million that Dabo Swinney got and between the $55 million they put it slides and wiffle ball rooms and nap rooms, indoor and outdoor room. Fact of the matter is, need to be developing these actual quarterbacks for where they're trying to go. And last but certainly least in this situation, the great Nick Saban. The great Nick Saban, who's obviously got Jalen Hurts right now, and Tua, who won a national championship. Anybody know the last time Nick Saban produced a quarterback in the National Football League? Anybody? That's good, because I don't know anybody either. Fact of the matter is, if you go to play quarterback for Nick Saban, you might as well get ready to change your position. The fact of the matter is, trust the facts, not the process. If you play running back for Nick Saban in the National Football League, look how your record has ended up. So with all those rings and those championships and all those ties to be rolling, how many guys have been in trouble on and off the field regarding their actual transgressions and lack of character development? So again, it's all cute and games and fun and games. We call it the draft process. It's all cute and fun and games when you watch people on ESPN. It's all cute and games on College Game Day want to try to create the next quarterback, because at the end of the day, you don't have any great ones. So you get on the show, you show a couple of highlights, and you start talking about who's great and who's not great. That's awesome. But the fact of the matter is, again, without the running game, you talk about right now, look at the Chicago Bears with Khalil Mack, 2-1. What are the Oakland Raiders right now? 0-3. But you decided to pay Derek Carr. Trust the facts, not the process. Again, QB-driven league, that's a myth. Absolute myth. Sports is not a game. Sports is all business. You need to continue to pay these players as such. Earl Thomas yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys did not practice all week. Why? Because at the end of the day, he's a professional. He's a DB. He knows how to get his body, his mind right. He knows how to watch film. So the fact of the matter is, he went out there with 7 tackles, 2 interceptions against the team he wanted to go play for without practicing 2 days a week. He's showing you These coaches in Seattle, they don't define Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas is a great transcendent safety. And again, he knows his window is short and he needs to be paid accordingly. If you're not willing to pay, why would he actually put his body on the risk for the team who don't obviously value him as the actual person? It's about knowing your worth. Reality is, again, this is how these things continue to go all day, every day. For all intents and purposes, everybody says that the Los Angeles Rams is bound for the Super Bowl. Okay, well, let's look at that. Paid Ndamukong Suh, check. You paid Aaron Donald, check. You paid Todd Gurley, check. Defense, running game, 3-0. Hasn't even been close. I saw a guy like Jared Goff, who was out of Cal, who was not, even though he was the number one draft pick in that certain draft class, no one even knew his name until the end of the day when they try to find someone to become great in the actual draft. The NFL wanted to promote that. Wasn't a great college coach, kid, player, and also did not win a national championship, did not play in a Power 5 conference, did not play in the college football playoffs. So which again, you're talking about trying to go to the league and try to be successful in the league. Playing in college for a certain coach means absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, playing for those certain coaches that won national championships actually hinder your ability, specifically you're talking about in the quarterback position, because one, either you're not physically or mentally prepared. Two, you have the improper character development. And three, you don't have the exact skill set is needed to actually be successful at the level that you want. So when Carson Wentz can come from North Dakota State, I can tell you that right now, Carson Wentz isn't sitting there complaining about not playing in the Power 5, has a Super Bowl ring, number 2 quarterback drafted overall, playing in Philadelphia, the first quarterback to bring them a ring in the history of the actual program. Or you can go play at the Ohio State University. You can come play at the U. You can get the turnover chain. You can get the turnover backpack. You get the turnover this and the turnover that. Parents, athletes, wake up. Your body and your brains is an equal exchange to make billionaires, trillionaires. You will give up your body and your opportunity to be successful in order to get a ring, a hat, and a t-shirt. The fact of the matter is, athletes, and whether it's high school, college, or in the pros, no one else is doing this for free, education or not. The fact of the matter is, since they can generate billions, they can actually generate billions and then decide to go back and get paid for their own education if they so choose to. This is a capitalistic society where literally economics, and specifically in sports, he say, she say is the problem with this business as it is. I'm giving you the facts as of right now. So again, when your quarterback comes out next week and some of these guys end up 0-3 and 1-2-1 and things of that nature, who are you going to blame? It's quarterback-driven league. When Le'Veon Bell is not playing for Pittsburgh right now because he understands that how many carries he had as a Pittsburgh Steeler doesn't warrant him getting paid. His window of opportunity in the sports business is short-lived, very short-lived, especially with running backs. Le'Veon Bell is trusting the facts. Look at the numbers. So the guy with the free education will be a dummy to go out there and jeopardize his future for a hat and a t-shirt and a ring. Because at the end of the day, they're going to give that number 26. It's like they gave that number 26 to Charles Woodson. To Rod Woodson, the NFL Hall of Famer, and they gave it to someone else. But guess what? Rod Woodson don't have the money that Le'Veon Bell is going to have. Rod Woodson's not going to have the ability to take care of his family and put himself in generational wealth like Le'Veon Bell has. Because Le'Veon Bell decides in his free time to go and ride a jet ski is well within his rights. These are grown men. These are professionals. And the fact of the matter is, it's about time that these professionals start looking at themselves as such and treating themselves as such. I couldn't be happier to see, again, the reality of what's going on. NFL Hall of Famers saying, you know what? We built this league, but yet people who never played a down collecting $50 million a year, full benefits for their families, but players are dying every day, can't get out their bed. Wives are calling to get no answers. Kids in college and their families trying to call the trainers. They don't have a voicemail. I don't even want to go into right now what's going on in the NCAA and these colleges, specifically in football, because you would be disgusted. To all the parents out there, to all of the athletes out there that are going through it and having your body beaten up and your mind, feeling like no one cares. We do. We're working on it. End of the day, like anything else, change is inevitable. Specifically when you start putting things in perspective like, hey, why is this so-called free education so important that they put out there when you can't even find one person to show a 6-figure, 7-figure job, but I can show you thousands of guys that have their bodies beaten up and broken. They right back where they started before they got their free education. Why is that in college basketball that in the Big Ten predominantly averaging 2.5 African-American men go to the actual university, When it comes to the minutes played in their actual basketball program, they play upwards of 90 plus minutes a game. They're generating that revenue. So you're good enough to play for that school, but again, you're not good enough to be able to actually attend unless you can play and bring them money. Sports is not a game. Sports is all business. Trust the facts, not the process. You can ask questions when these people come into your living room to ask you, to tell you they want to give you a scholarship. There's 700 schools, in particular in football and many more when it comes to basketball, that you can take your talents to. Know what you're getting into. After you sign your name to something you don't understand, in reality, this is business, so it's on you. Ignorance is not bliss. It's not acceptable at this point. Technology's out there, resources are out there. People like myself is out there. As a player, we're here to advocate for you, educate and empower, protect the athletes and the family's best interests and theirs alone. There's a reason why these things continue to come to light, because at the end of the day, the millions and billions and trillions of dollars being generated off the backs of these actual athletes, again, that's all good. But if you don't have the knowledge and understanding of what you're actually doing and where you're trying to go, it's going to be all for naught. So to recap, trust the facts, not the process. NFL is not a QB-driven league. College is not a QB-driven league. The fact of the matter is these actual kids in college are being taught to run around and jump up and down and do all this RPO, runs, pass, option, spread stuff, winning college coaches championships and completely faltering when they get to the next level. Don't let that be you. Understand who runs a pro-style office. If your goal is to go pro, then go somewhere where you need it, not where you want it. My name is Robert T. Green. I'm the CEO of Pre-Post Game, here to educate and empower, protect the athletes and families' best interests alone. Check us out at prepostgame.com. Again, you can check us out at the Players Rep 1 on Twitter, the Players Rep 1 on Instagram. You guys be well, and God bless.